10. Tails was originally supposed to be a tanuki. Mario fans may be familiar with the tanuki, a raccoon-like creature from Japanese mythology. This would have been pretty cool since according to folklore, tanuki could shapeshift, and a shapeshifting Tails would have been pretty awesome. Sadly, since Mario was so well known for his tanuki suit, they decided to change him to a fox based on the kitsune, which is fine, I guess. Number 9. He didn't really fly when he was first introduced. As many of you know, we first played as Tails in Sonic the Hedgehog 2. However, this time he played pretty much the exact same way as Sonic, just with different animations. Technically, he did fly because his running animation had him flying close to the ground, but we didn't see his signature flying levels until Sonic 3. Number 8. He's a master engineer. This is one that people who know Sonic will definitely know already, but just in case some of you aren't Sonic fans, I figured this would be important to touch on, because you definitely wouldn't know it by looking at him. While he may seem like a naive little kid, Tails actually has a really high IQ and is a pretty great inventor. So if you just saw him as the fox dude that can fly, he's pretty damn smart too. Number 7. He was voiced by 2 different brothers. Since Tails is so young, he's generally played by young boys with high voices. His English lines were first voiced by Corey Bringas from 1999 to 2001. Unfortunately, Corey's voice changed and he couldn't do the Tails lines for Sonic Adventure 2 as planned. But you know whose voice hadn't changed? His younger brother Connor, who ended up doing the voice for Tails in Sonic Adventure 2. Finally, having a brother paid off. Number 6. He's the 3rd most popular character in Sonic. With so many interesting characters in Sonic, there have been a number of polls asking about favorite characters. Unsurprisingly, Sonic ranked first, followed by Shadow, then Tails. The weird thing is that even though he's clearly well liked, he's often kind of a punching bag for fans, who like to rip on him for being so annoyingly dependent at times. It kind of speaks to how polarizing the guy is. Number 5. Tails was named Best New Character in Electronic Gaming Monthly's 1992 Video Game Awards. Not only have fans consistently voted him a great Sonic character, but he's well respected by video game magazines too. They stated, quote, "Not only is he as cute as Sonic, but he actually serves a major purpose in the game." And I can't help but agree. Number 4. His nickname was given to him by bullies. If you're a Sonic fan, you'll know that Tails, unlike most foxes, was born with 2 tails rather than 1. This caused him to be bullied as a kid, with his bullies giving him the nickname Tails to mess with him. So while some people assume it's just a cute nickname among friends, it actually represents a pretty lousy time in his life. I think it's great that he got over it and reclaimed the name for himself. Number 3. He's the youngest character who can go super. Tails is one of the youngest characters in Sonic, only beating out Cream, Charmy, and Marine in age. But he can do one thing these 3 can't: go super. If he uses all 7 Super or Chaos Emeralds, he turns into Super Tails, getting more powerful, becoming almost invincible, and gaining the ability to fly without his tails. Not too shabby for an 8-year-old. Number 2. He's afraid of lightning. As the games went on, Tails became braver and braver. However, he still has one big weakness. He's afraid of thunder and lightning. If you want to get all scientific, it's called astrophobia, and he shows it an awful lot.
Ah, I'm afraid of lightning!
Number 1. His name is a pun. Here's something that I straight up never realized, and I'm kind of embarrassed. As I'm sure you know, Tails does have a real name, Miles Prower. And now that I've said it, you might notice the pun. Miles Prower? Miles per hour? Yeah, it's pretty crazy, but since he's almost always referred to as Tails in the shows and games, I never really heard it. Please tell me if you never notice this either, because I'm feeling really stupid right now.
And at number 10, Metal Tails. Metal Tails first appeared in the Archie Comics spin-off series in issue 37 of Sonic Universe. And he's a villain. Created by Dr. Robotnik as part of a series of robotic clones of Sonic, Amy, and Tails, Metal Tails' full potential in battle is actually unknown, but in terms of his abilities, he's a close match with Tails himself, and arguably is more deadly than his namesake. He was eventually destroyed by Rotor Walrus alongside Elias Acorn, which are names that probably mean nothing to you if you have not read the comics. And at number 9, Tall Tails. Tall Tails is exactly that. He is tall. To be fair, he's really more of a giant who, thanks to Dr. Robotnik, had grown in size to a massive proportion. Hailing from Sonic the Comic, this version of Tails can easily swat away badniks. And when he spins his tails to fly, he creates hurricanes. His large size also comes in handy briefly when he uses his body to protect the regular-sized villagers from a rainstorm. But ultimately, the growth serum wears off when he's covered in water, shrinking him back down to normal size. And at number 8, Tails Op. Tails Op is a version of Tails who comes from the Sentai Zone. He's like a technologically enhanced ninja of sorts, inspired by the Japanese superhero team Gatchamen, specifically being a parody of Junpei the Swallow. He and the rest of the Sonica Man Chaos Ninja team were summoned to Mobius Prime in order to save Sonic and the gang from Salictor's attacks in the comics. In at number 7, Tailzilla. If you've seen our strongest alternate versions of Sonic the Hedgehog list, this character might bear some resemblance to you since Sonic had a similar alternate. It's Tailzilla, a giant-sized version of Tails. Get it? Like Godzilla, but Tailzilla, cause you know, big. Urgh. Except contrary to the similar Sonic alternate, this Tails alternate is evil. And has bat wings for ears, that's how you know that he's evil. He was transformed thanks to Chaos Emerald radiation. And fun fact, Tailzilla was actually inspired by Devilman and Akira Fudo's Devilman transformation. The more you know. And at number 6, Dark Mobius Tails. This version is yet another alternate Mobius Tails, who is first introduced in Sonic Universe issue 25. He's from an alternate future timeline in which he sought out the Chaos Emeralds in order to help Sonic transform and fight an evil version of Knuckles. While we don't really get to see him in action all that much, rather the majority of time that we do see him he is in captivity, he is said to be wickedly powerful, having chaos-based powers, a genius-level intellect, and is skilled at hand-to-hand combat, all while maintaining his technical expertise. In at number 5, Super Tails. Super Tails is the heroic sidekick's equivalent to Super Sonic, a state that occurs when Tails transforms by harnessing the power of the Chaos Emeralds or the 7 Super Emeralds. Similar to Sonic, this state makes Tails practically invincible, giving him a boost in his strength, his speed, his longevity in terms of flight, and the ability to jump higher. He also gets one brand new ability. He can create a pulsating golden energy shield around his body for protection. In at 4, Captain Super Foxman, the mutant cyborg clone. Whew. The Archie comics are known for creating parodies of Marvel comic characters in their Sonic series. Now there's a few alternates of Sonic kicking around that are homages to heroes like Spider-Man that have appeared in their panels. This version of Tails is another riff off of the comic Giant, referencing multiple different comics, particularly Uncanny X-Men comics. Anywho, this version of Tails is from a comic book called Tales to Astonish, yet another Marvel reference, except Tails is spelled like Tails' name. He is a superhero with super strength and the ability to fly. And he's also a mutant cyborg, similar to Marvel character Cable, which makes sense because of, you know, Foxman the mutant cyborg clone, kinda, you know. And at number 3, Hyper Tails. From Archie Comics Sonic the Hedgehog issue 66, Hyper Tails is the hyper form of Tails, which came to be when the character absorbed a large collection of special super-powered rings. Now aside from giving his regular abilities a serious boost, this version of Tails has super strength, speed, and reflexes, and can fly without the use of his tails. Visibly, there isn't a huge difference between Hyper Tails and regular Tails. Hyper Tails does have longer hair, and he is surrounded by a flock of elemental flicky that function as a miniature army whenever he needs help. They're controlled via a mental link. In at number 2, Tails Doll. Tails Doll first appears in Sonic R, a racing game in which you could unlock him as a bonus character. Atop its head is a metal rod with a red gem that seemingly controls the robot's movements. Now according to the game, Tails Doll is, I quote, "As a last resort, Eggman manufactured this to catch Sonic unprepared. This, except for the power plant embedded in its head, is a mere stuffed animal, whose meager form nevertheless exhibits considerable ability in races due to its lightweight design. Still, it is also able to float in the air for a long time." What seems so harmful or strong about that, you may be wondering? Well, it's what the Tails Doll has become thanks to urban legends that makes it so deadly these days. Tails Doll is the focal point of a creepypasta in which a dad and his kid play Sonic R. They unlock the character and then eventually they release it from the game, with the story implying that Tails Doll murders the father. It's said to be demonic, filled with evil, and will never stop hunting its prey until it gets what it wants. Now fun fact, this character was actually created by a background artist who started at Sega in 1997 to work on Sonic Adventure. It was never meant to be a character featured in a game. And finally, in at number 1, Titan Tails. Titan Tails has only appeared once in the Archie comics spin-offs, debuting in Sonic the Hedgehog issue 150. He's a superpowered entity, is incredibly muscular, and came to be when Tails fused himself with a bunch of other alternate parallel universe selves. When Sonic the Zone Cop, an alternate of Sonic the Hedgehog who polices over different zones of the Morbius multiverse, gathered these versions of Tails together, they all amalgamated into this transformation in order to kick Mammoth Mogul's butt. Now according to the comic, this version of Tails commands powerful cosmic energy. He is a higher being, and has the knowledge of the universe's workings, and is therefore capable of manipulating the fabric of reality. Yes, that's a thing a Sonic character can do apparently. I don't know about you guys, but that seems like one hell of a powerful sidekick. He can also absorb the powers of others, making it his own. Sonic once noted that Titan Tails was the ultimate power in the multiverse. Unfortunately, he only makes that one appearance, with Titan Tails deciding to give up his power in order to restore reality.
Number 10. Sat AM Tails. Let's start with a pretty darn normal version of Tails. Sat AM Tails comes from the Saturday morning cartoon from the 90s, and he's just so cute. Tails is a fox with two big tails, hence the name. He's really young, so he generally doesn't get to go out on the dangerous missions, but he's just so cute. Kinda looks like Rocky the Squirrel or a super naive version of Conker from Conker's Bad Fur Day, although Conker probably drinks significantly more beer. Number 9. Prehistoric Tails. This is the version of Tails from Prehistoric Mobius, seen in Sonic the Hedgehog number 12, when Sonic was sent back in time. As you can see, he doesn't look that different from the usual Tails, but he is, darker and hairier, and he can still fly. That said, he's looking sharp in the new fall look, some animal skin turned into clothing. What a trendsetter. Number 8. Metal Tails. Considering Robotnik's MO is making a bunch of robot versions of his enemies, it should come as no surprise that there's a robot version of Tails. That is awesome. Gone is the childish whimsy, the cuteness, the happy-go-lucky nature. It's all replaced with cold steel, or whatever metal he uses, I don't know. He acted as enforcer for Eggman as part of his Metal series, and he did a pretty good job, at least until he got exploded. Number 7. Anti-Tails. Anti-Tails, or Miles, is the evil version of Tails from Mobius in the Antiverse. Like the other evil counterparts, this version of Tails is kind of a jerk. He joined the anti-freedom fighters to terrorize their home world, and stayed on as a member of the Suppression Squad when they invaded Mobius Prime. As always, I just love seeing evil versions of normally good characters. And Tails is normally so clean and so naive, it is just that much better to see him go bad. Number 6. Sky Patrol Tails. This is the Tails who finally got his own game way back in 1995 for Sega Game Gear. I mean, he previously had that educational music game, but just no. This game focuses much more on his ability to fly, to separate itself from other Sonic titles. The game itself didn't do so hot, but it's just great to see Tails getting his moment as the main character. He doesn't seem to have too many physical differences, but it's kinda hard to tell with such low quality anyway. Not the most interesting version, but I think it's important to show everyone that he isn't always the sidekick. Number 5. Sonic for Hire Tails. This version of Tails is from the Sonic for Hire web series, and he is very different from our usual Tails. This one takes charge, helping Sonic find jobs and make money. While he spends much of season 2 in a coma, he comes back to do things like plan heists and lead the mob. He even creates an iPhone game called Cash Explosion that makes him rich and turns him pretty evil, before being defeated and relegated back to sidekick status. He doesn't really look different from other versions, but my goodness is his story ever different. Number 4. Tailzilla. If you watch the alternate Sonic list, you'll know all about Soniczilla, and unsurprisingly, there's also a Tailzilla. He comes from the version of Mobius where Chaos Emerald radiation transformed many characters into giant monsters, and the transformation of Tails is pretty awesome. He gets all dark with bat wings on his head and sharp claws. Finally, a version of Tails that I would actually be afraid of. Number 3. Blails. Blails is from the YouTube video Bolonic. Say hi, Blails.
I'm not Tails. I'm my original character, Blails.
Thanks, Blails. As you can see, Blails is totally not a copy of Tails, but rather a completely original character. And he does things. He sits, and he continues to exist. I give up, Blails. What exactly do you do?
I'm still here.
Alright, thanks, bud. Number 2. The Tails from Sonic Fear Tails Doll. This is a version of Tails that is absolutely terrifying, and found in Sonic Fear Tails Doll. Oh, that title's awful. Yeah, it's a weird name, but not as weird as the game itself. You're running around as Sonic, but there's blood and weird monsters and graves everywhere, and you're constantly being berated by a freaky looking Tails head. Quite similar to Sonic.exe, but this time it's Tails who's being all freaky. And he does a pretty darn good job of it. I mean, look at this. Number 1. Titan Tails. I gotta go back to Archie Comics once again because this one simply must be on this list. When Tails fused together with a bunch of different versions of himself, he turned into Titan Tails, proving that he is in fact the chosen one. This needed to be in here for 2 reasons. For one, Titan Tails looks like a total beast and it's amazing. But also, it's just so nice for Tails to actually get to be the chosen one. It's kinda like if it turned out that Neville was in fact the chosen one, except with Tails it actually happened. Awesome!
Now, this creepypasta began floating around the interwebs during 2012 after being uploaded by a user named Storyteller. He starts off by telling us that he heard this creepy gem from one of his friends. So what exactly is it? Well, to begin, a man arrives home from work one day with a gift for his son, a video game, Sonic R. Now, if you don't know, it's a racing game, and of course his son was over the moon to receive it. He started it up immediately, playing a few games with his dad. They had a great time, as you would expect. A few days later though, the boy was nearing the end of the game, moments away from completion. His dad came in, cheering him on as he beat the last boss and screamed in excitement as he did. However, this is where things begin to get creepy for the pair. The credits began to roll, and the dad looked on in terror, asking the boy, "What is that?" The boy responded, "That's Tails," as it gradually appeared on the screen. The dad couldn't quite shake off this uneasy feeling though, telling his son it was time for bed. Now, it was during the night that the dad snuck back into the boy's room, booting up the game quietly to give it a go himself. The game now gave him the option to play as Tails doll, so the dad clicked on it, opting to tag him up with some of the gang. Nothing was out of the ordinary to begin. The dad was having a great time, even tagging Tails doll up with Sonic, but as he did, the screen went black and the system shut off. Not too concerned, the dad decided it was probably time to head to bed. However, at around 2 AM, he heard thumping at his door. Assuming it was his son, he told him to go back to bed, but the thumping kept happening. The dad sat up, noticing a shadow under his door, and he couldn't quite shake the image of Tails doll from his mind. He got up, slowly opening the door. Then out of the darkness, he heard a voice softly speak,
You're coming with me, forever.
It was Tails doll, blood-coated and possessed. And that's where the story ends. Very creepy. Have you guys heard this story? What are your thoughts on it? Do you believe that there's a cursed Tails doll out there haunting Sonic R, waiting to emerge from the game to kill? Or do you believe they are all internet myths? I mean, I do. They are. That's a creepypasta. Do you have any specific creepypastas you want us to read out and discuss on this channel? Leave us all your thoughts and feelings in the comments down below and we can try our best to make them happen. If you haven't already, be sure to give this video a big thumbs up, subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss another gaming vid. And until next time, see you later.